Baby, stop what you are doing right now. I need you to listen to me very carefully, because what I am about to tell you is something I found out, and I have not been able to stop thinking about it since the moment I learned it. Someone used your phone. Someone went through your private things. Someone took something from you without asking, without permission, without any respect for who you are or what you deserve. And the moment I found out, the only thing I could think about was getting to you. Getting to this moment right here, where I can look you in your eyes through whatever screen you are holding and say, baby, you have been played. And you deserved so much better than that. You have always deserved better than that. Please don't go anywhere, because by the time I finish telling you everything, something is going to shift inside you. Something is going to change. I promise you that. I know that word, played, lands hard. I know it sits in a painful place, because being played is not just about being lied to or deceived in some abstract way. Being played is personal. Being played means someone looked at you, really looked at you, saw your kindness and your trust and your open heart, and decided to use those things against you instead of honoring them. Being played means someone who should have protected you chose to take advantage of you instead. And that particular kind of hurt, the one that comes from having your trust turned into a weapon, that is one of the most quietly devastating things a person can experience. And I know it. I see it. And I am not going to pretend it didn't happen or rush past it or make it smaller than it is, because it is not small. What happened to you is not small, but I need you to stay with me, because there is so much more I have to say, and some of it is going to surprise you. Some of it is going to reach into a place inside you that has been hurting quietly for longer than just this moment, longer than just this situation with your phone, longer than you might even realize. Because the truth is, what I want to talk to you about today goes deeper than one betrayal. It goes all the way down to who you are and why people keep underestimating what that means. And by the time I am done, I need you to understand something about yourself that you may have forgotten. Something important, something true. Let me start at the beginning. Your phone, that small device that you carry with you everywhere, that holds your conversations and your photographs and your memories and your private thoughts and your plans and your fears and your hopes. That phone is one of the most intimate objects in your life. Think about what lives in there. Think about the messages you have sent at 2 in the morning when you could not sleep and needed to reach out to someone. Think about the photographs you have taken that were only ever meant for your own eyes. Think about the conversations you have had that you trusted would stay between you and the person you were talking to. Think about all of that, all of those private, personal, deeply human moments, and then tell me how it feels to know that someone went through all of it without your permission. It feels like violation. It feels like someone walked into the most private room in your house and went through every drawer, read every journal, opened every box that was sealed. It feels like a betrayal that is hard to fully articulate because it touches something so personal, so intimate, so deeply yours. And the worst part, the part that I think is sitting heaviest in your chest right now, is not just that they did it. It is that they could. It is that they were close enough to you, trusted enough by you, welcomed enough into your life, that they had access to the thing that holds everything. And they used that access to take something from you instead of protect it. I want to ask you something, and I need you to be honest with yourself when you answer it, not just for my sake but for yours. Did some part of you already know something was wrong? Did some small quiet voice inside you, the one that you sometimes ignore because you do not want to be the suspicious one, the difficult one, the one who makes things complicated, did that voice tell you something was off? Because I think it did. I think you felt it. I think there were moments, small moments, moments that did not seem significant enough to name or act on, where something in your body said, this is not right. And I think you pushed that feeling down because you wanted to believe the best. Because you are someone who believes in people. Because trusting comes naturally to you, even when the evidence is starting to suggest that maybe it shouldn't. And that, the fact that you trust, the fact that you believe, the fact that your first instinct is always to give the benefit of the doubt, that is not a weakness. I need you to hear me say that very clearly and very firmly before we go any further. That is not a weakness. That is who you are. That is one of the most beautiful and most rare things about you. And the person who took advantage of it did not prove that you were naive. They proved that they were not worthy of you. Those are two completely different things, and I refuse to let you confuse one for the other. Because here is what I know about you, even if we have never sat across from each other in a quiet room. I know that you are someone who loves with everything she has. I know that you are someone who shows up fully, who gives generously, who makes the people in her life feel seen and cared for and valued. I know that you are someone who would never, not once, not ever, take someone's phone and go through their private things, because you know how that would feel, and you would never want to make someone feel that way. I know that about you, and the fact that someone did to you what you would never do to them says everything about who they are and nothing about who you are. Stay with me. I know this is heavy. I know it is bringing up things that might not just be about this one situation. I know that for some of you, what I am describing today is not the first time. I know that for some of you, there is a pattern, a heartbreaking, exhausting. Where does this keep coming from pattern? Of finding yourself in situations where you gave your trust and someone misused it. Where you opened up and someone took advantage of that openness. Where you loved and someone turned that love into leverage. And if that is your story, if that is the pattern you are living inside of right now, I need you to listen to what I am about to say more carefully than you have listened to anything in a long time. You are not the problem. The pattern is not happening because something is wrong with you. The pattern is happening because you keep encountering people who are not big enough to hold the kind of love you carry. People who are not secure enough in themselves to be trusted with someone as open and real and feeling as you are. People who see your softness and mistake it for an opportunity rather than a gift. And the answer is not to become harder. The answer is not to close off, to trust less, to love with one hand while keeping the other hand ready to protect yourself. The answer is something harder and more beautiful than that. The answer is discernment, the ability to keep your heart open while also being wise about who gets access to it. But we will get to that. Right now, I want to stay with what happened. I want to stay with the specific feeling of finding out that someone went through your phone. Because I think there is something in that feeling that you need to fully feel before you can move through it. And I am going to sit here with you while you feel it. I am not going anywhere. There is a specific kind of shame that comes with being deceived by someone close to you. It is not the shame of doing something wrong, because you did nothing wrong. It is the shame of having trusted someone who turned out not to deserve it. It is the shame of wondering if people around you knew and did not tell you. It is the shame of replaying conversations and moments in your mind and seeing them differently now, asking yourself how you missed it, why you did not see it sooner, what it says about your judgment that you gave so much to someone who was not being honest with you. That shame is quiet and it is heavy, and it is very good at disguising itself as evidence that something is wrong with you when really it is evidence of nothing except the fact that you were betrayed. I want you to put that shame down. I am asking you, gently but seriously, put it down. It does not belong to you. It belongs to the person who chose to betray your trust. It belongs to the person who looked at your open heart and decided to take advantage of it. It belongs to them, not to you. You were loving. You were trusting. You were being exactly who you are. And who you are is not the problem. Now, I need to tell you something that I have been building towards since the beginning, something that the title of this moment promised you, and that I have been holding carefully because I wanted to make sure you were ready to receive it. Someone used your phone, and what they were doing on your phone, what they were looking for, what they were trying to find, what they were trying to use, says so much about their own fear and their own insecurity and their own smallness. Because people who are secure do not go through other people's phones. People who are confident in themselves, confident in their relationships, confident in who they are, those people do not feel the need to sneak and snoop and spy. Those people do not feel the need to violate someone's privacy. Only people who are afraid do that. Only people who are living inside of their own guilt and their own dishonesty and their own unresolved wounds do that. And knowing that, understanding that the behavior you are dealing with is rooted in their fear and not in anything you did or didn't do. I hope that lands somewhere helpful inside you. I want to tell you about something I understand from my own experience, something I do not talk about often because it is a tender place, but something that I think you need to hear today. I have been in situations where someone I trusted showed me a version of themselves that was different from who they really were. I have given my openness and my honesty and my genuine self to someone, and then discovered that what they were showing me in return was not the full picture. And the moment of discovery, that specific breathtaking, ground falling away moment when you realize that what you thought was real was not entirely real, that moment is one of the most disorienting experiences a person can have. Because it does not just change how you see that person. It briefly, terrifyingly, changes how you see yourself. It makes you question your own perception. It makes you wonder if the things you felt were real at all. They were real. Your feelings were real. Your love was real. Your trust was real. None of that becomes retroactively false just because the person who received it was not being fully honest. The love you gave was genuine. The trust you offered was genuine. You were genuine. And genuine things do not stop being real just because the person they were given to was not living at that same level of honesty. Your reality was and is intact. It is theirs that was the problem. I think about you in the moment you found out. I think about the exact second when something shifted and the understanding came in and you felt that particular combination of disbelief and recognition. Disbelief because you did not want it to be true. Recognition because part of you already knew. I think about what your face looked like. I think about what happened in your body, that cold feeling, that strange stillness, that moment where everything goes very quiet because your mind is trying to process something that your heart does not want to accept. I think about all of that and I want you to know that I see it. I see you in that moment. And I want to reach through everything between us and hold your face in my hands and say, you are going to be okay. More than okay. You are going to come out of this knowing something about yourself that you did not know before. Something that is going to make you stronger and wiser and even more extraordinary than you already are. Because being betrayed, as painful as it is, as violating as it is, as devastating as it can be, being betrayed reveals something. It reveals how strong you actually are. It reveals what you are made of in the moments after the ground falls away. And I have been watching you in the way I always watch, quietly and closely and with so much feeling. And what I see is someone who is made of something exceptional. Someone who does not crumble even when she has every right to. Someone who keeps standing even when standing costs her something. Someone who cries and then wipes her eyes and looks forward and keeps going. That is you. That is what you do. And it is remarkable. There is something else I want to say about the phone specifically, because I think it matters, and I think you might not have let yourself fully feel the anger of it yet. Your phone is your private space. In a world where privacy is increasingly rare, where everything seems to be open and shared and visible, your phone is one of the last truly private spaces you have. It is where you are fully yourself, uncurated, unperformed, not arranged for anyone else's consumption. It is where you send the messages you would not say out loud. It is where you keep the photographs that are just for you. It is where your internal life lives in a way that it does not live anywhere else. And someone went into that space without your permission. That is not a small thing. That is a significant violation, and you are allowed to be angry about it. You are allowed to feel that anger all the way through without qualifying it or softening it or wondering if you are overreacting. You are not overreacting. You are having an appropriate response to an inappropriate thing that was done to you. And I want to sit in that with you. I want to be the one who says, be angry. Feel it. Let it be as big as it needs to be. Because sometimes the most healing thing is not to immediately move to forgiveness or understanding or making peace with something. Sometimes the most healing thing is to first let yourself fully acknowledge that something wrong was done to you, that you were wronged, that the violation was real, and it mattered and you did not deserve it. Let that be true first. Let it be completely and fully true before you start doing anything else with it. You deserve someone who would never do that. And I want to paint a picture for you, not to make you long for something that feels impossible, but to remind you that it is not impossible, that it is what you are worth, that it is the standard you should hold on to, no matter how many times circumstances try to convince you to lower it. You deserve someone who looks at your phone not with the urge to search through it, but with the simple knowledge that what is in there is yours, private and protected, and not theirs to touch. You deserve someone who is so secure in themselves, so confident in what you have together, so committed to honoring who you are, that the thought of going through your things would not even occur to them. You deserve someone who trusts you, not because they have no reason to wonder, not because they have checked and verified and confirmed that everything is okay, but because they know you, because they have been paying attention to who you actually are, because your character has spoken for itself and they have listened. That person exists. That kind of love exists. And I know that in this moment it might be hard to believe that. I know that when you are sitting in the middle of a betrayal, when you are feeling the specific pain of having your trust violated, the world can look like a place where people who deserve good love just do not get it, where the wrong people keep finding their way into your life, no matter how carefully you try to choose, where the openness of your heart seems to be the very thing that keeps drawing in people who are not safe to be open with. But I need you to hear me when I say that is not the truth of your story. That is just the chapter you are in right now. And chapters end, and new ones begin. And the chapter that is coming for you, the one that is already being written, even as you sit in the middle of the hard one, that chapter is different. That chapter has someone in it who is worthy of the love you carry. Someone who will not need to go through your phone, because they will know, in the deepest part of themselves, that you are someone who shows up fully and honestly. Someone who will not need to take from you secretly, because they will be someone you give to freely, joyfully, completely. Someone whose presence in your life will feel like coming home rather than like walking on thin ice. I believe that for you. With everything I have, I believe that for you. Let me tell you something about trust, because I think it is important, and I think you might be standing at a place in your life right now where you are tempted to make a decision about it, that I want to gently talk you out of. Trust is not something you should protect by withholding it from everyone. Trust is something you should protect by learning to give it carefully, slowly, in proportion to what someone has earned over time. There is a difference between being open and being careless. There is a difference between being trusting and being blind. And finding that difference, living in that nuanced space between completely open and completely guarded, that is the work. That is the beautiful, difficult, necessary work that the people who have been through what you have been through are being called to do. You are being called to that work right now, not because you did anything wrong, not because you need to be fixed, but because you are growing. Because everything you have experienced, including this, is part of a process of becoming someone who loves even more wisely and even more deeply than before. Someone who can be fully open and also fully discerning. Someone who gives her heart generously and also knows her own worth clearly enough to walk away when something is not right. You are becoming that person. You might already be further along in that becoming than you realize. I want to tell you what I think happened. Not the specific details. I do not know those. But the shape of it. The way these things usually go. Someone in your life saw how much you had to give. They saw the warmth and the generosity and the beautiful, open-hearted way you move through the world. And instead of rising to meet that, instead of asking themselves how they could be worthy of it, they felt threatened by it, or they felt entitled to it, or they felt afraid of losing it. And from that fear, from that insecurity, from that unhealed place inside them, they did something that felt, in their distorted thinking, like self-protection. But what it actually was a betrayal. A choice to violate your privacy rather than to be honest with you. A choice to sneak rather than to trust. A choice to take from you rather than to communicate with you. And you could not have stopped that. You could not have prevented that by being more careful or more closed or more suspicious. Because the problem was not anything you did. The problem was who they are and what they chose. And you cannot control who other people are or what they choose. You can only control who you are and who you are. In this situation, in this moment, in the way you are sitting with this truth right now, is someone extraordinary, someone who is going to take this hard thing and do something important with it. Someone who is not going to let this break her, but is instead going to let it teach her. Someone who is going to come out of this clearer and stronger and more fully herself than she has ever been. I am so certain of that. I am more certain of that than I am of almost anything. And as I keep talking to you, as I keep reaching toward you through these words, there is something building in my chest that I am going to have to tell you soon. Something that this whole conversation has been leading toward. Something that goes beyond the phone and the betrayal and the pattern and the healing. Something personal, something real, something that has to do with you and me and what I feel when I think about the woman who is listening to this right now. I can feel it getting closer. I can feel the words arranging themselves, finding their order, getting ready to come out. And I am going to let them. I am going to say the thing that I have been circling around since the very beginning, but not quite yet. Because first I want to make sure you are still here with me. I want to make sure you are still breathing. I want to make sure you have not let the heaviness of what I have been saying push you back into yourself, make you close up, make you retreat into that protective, quiet place you go when things get to be too much. Because I need you present for what comes next. I need you with me, all of you, the open and feeling and beautifully vulnerable you. For the part that is still coming, are you still there? Because I am still here. I am not going anywhere. I have more to say, and all of it is for you, and it matters. And I need you to hear it. The person who went through your phone did not know what they had. They were standing next to something precious, and they treated it carelessly. They were close to someone extraordinary, and they chose smallness. They had access to you, to the real, private, unguarded you. And instead of protecting that sacred access, they violated it. But I want you to know something. Just because they did not know your worth does not mean your worth changed. Just because they did not